My son told me I eat, but don't help in front of 15 neighbors at our Memorial Day BBQ. My name is Frank Mitchell. I'm 62 years old, and I built the house he said that in. I built that house with my own hands. Every foundation, every wall, every cabinet. It took me 18 months of nights and weekends after 10-hour shifts. When my son got married, I told him he could live there. Forever, I said. What I never told him was that I never transferred the deed. The house was mine. Always was. And when he called me a freeloader in front of everyone we knew, neighbors, friends, his kids, I made a decision. A quiet one. I sold it. For $3.2 million. He found out when the moving truck pulled up on a Saturday morning. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. I want to hear your stories too. This is what happens when you mistake silence for weakness and generosity for obligation. Let me take you back to where it started. It wasn't always like this. There was a time when Derek looked at me with respect, maybe even pride. I remember when he was 7, watching me frame out what would become his bedroom. He handed me nails one by one, serious as a heart attack, like he was performing surgery. "Dad," he said, "when I grow up, I want to build things like you." I thought about that a lot in the years that followed, especially after things changed. My wife Sarah died in 2019. Cancer. It was brutal and it was fast. 6 months from diagnosis to goodbye. She left me $180,000 in life insurance. I gave Derek $120,000 of it for his wedding expenses. He was marrying Amanda, this sharp pharmaceutical sales rep with a degree from UC Davis, and parents who owned a vineyard in Napa. The wedding was at a resort in Carmel. Ice sculptures, live band, 200 guests. I wrote the check without blinking. Derek never said thank you. Later I heard him tell Amanda it was part of my inheritance split early, like it was his right, not my choice. After Sarah died, I sold our place, and Derek invited me to stay with them. "Just until you figure things out, Dad," he said. That was 2020, 4 years ago. I should have seen the signs earlier. But grief makes you blind and hopeful. The first real incident was Thanksgiving 2022. Derek sat me down at the kitchen table, the same table I'd built and installed myself, cherry wood with mortise and tenon joints. He slid a printed piece of paper across to me. "Rental agreement," the header said. My name was already filled in. "Dad, Amanda and I talked. We think you should contribute. $800 a month. That's fair, right?" I did the math in my head. My Social Security was $1,890. My pension from the contractors union was $650. Total, $2,540 a month. After his rent, I'd have $1,740 left. "Contribute," I repeated. The word tasted wrong. "You've been here 2 years," Amanda added from the doorway. "We've been more than generous." What they didn't mention, I mowed their 0.3-acre lawn every week. I'd fixed a leaking pipe under their bathroom sink the month before, a repair that would have cost them $340 if they'd called a plumber. I watched Emma and Jake 3 afternoons a week after school while they both worked. Daycare would have cost them $1,200 a month, but none of that counted as contributing, apparently. My hands shook when I signed that paper, the same hands that had poured the foundation of this house 20 years earlier. Then came Amanda's Facebook post, June 2023. I didn't even have Facebook, but my granddaughter Emma showed it to me on her iPad. She was 6 years old, and she didn't understand what it meant. "Grandma says this is about you, Grandpa," Emma said, turning the screen toward me. The post showed a photo of my work boots by the front door. Amanda had staged it. I always kept them in the garage. The caption read, "When house guests forget their guests. Not boundaries, respect." 2,100 friends saw it, 47 comments, mostly laughing emojis. That same week, I paid the $4,200 property tax bill, second installment for the year. I'd been paying it since 2003 every 6 months, $6,350, like clockwork. Derek never asked about it, never wondered why the county never sent him a bill. Over 21 years, I'd paid $127,000 in property taxes on a house my son thought was his. Here's what Derek didn't know. When I built this house back in 2003, I was 41 years old. I'd been working construction for 19 years. I knew how to read permits, file deeds, navigate county records. I did everything right. The property deed was filed March 14th, 2003. Frank Mitchell, sole owner. When Derek got married in 2018, and I told him, "This is your home now, you can live here forever," I meant exactly that. Live here, not own it. I never corrected his assumption. Maybe that was my mistake. I kept all the paperwork in a storage unit, public storage, unit number 114, off Mission Boulevard. I rented it when I built the house and never gave it up. $120 a month for 20 years. Inside those boxes, original building permits, my contractor's license number, 863521, receipts for every board and nail. I kept everything, including receipts from the renovations Derek took credit for. New granite countertops in 2019, $8,200. HVAC replacement in 2021, $11,800. Custom tile work in the master bathroom in 2023, $11,450. Total, $31,450. All on my credit card. All without a word. Derek told his friends and Amanda's family that he upgraded the house. He posted before and after photos on Instagram, got 300 likes, never mentioned who paid. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself I was doing it for the grandkids. For Emma, who drew me pictures every day after school. For Jake, who was 4 and only fell asleep when I read to him. But it did matter. Every eye roll when I talked about the old days. Every time Derek corrected me when I called it the house I built. "Dad, it's our house now." Every passive-aggressive comment about my 2006 Silverado truck parked in the driveway. "Get a Tesla, Dad. Stop embarrassing us." I started feeling like a ghost in my own foundation, but I stayed quiet. I told myself, "You're the adult here. You're the father. Be patient. Set an example." Then Memorial Day happened. Before I tell you about that barbecue, you need to understand what kept me frozen. Why I didn't just leave. Why I let it go on so long. 3 things trapped me. 3 fears. First, my grandchildren. Emma was 6. Every day when she got off the school bus, she'd run straight to me, show me her drawings, tell me about her day in that breathless way kids do, where everything's the most important thing that ever happened. "Grandpa, we learned about butterflies, and guess what? They taste with their feet." Jake was 4. He had this thing where he couldn't fall asleep unless I read to him. Same book every night. Good night, Moon. And I'd read it 50 times, and he'd still correct me if I tried to skip a page. If I left, I knew what Derek would do. He'd weaponize access. "You can visit when we say, Dad." When it's convenient for us. I'd seen him do it with Amanda's mother after an argument. 3 months before he let her see the kids again. I couldn't risk it. Emma and Jake were the only family I had left after Sarah died. One night, Emma climbed into my lap. "Grandpa," she said, "you're going to live here forever, right?" I lied to her. "Of course, sweetheart." The second fear was financial, or so I thought. I was paying Derek $800 a month in rent. That's $9,600 a year. On top of that, I was paying the property taxes, $12,700 a year. Derek never knew about that part, so I was bleeding $22,300 annually just to live in a house I owned. I had savings, $340,000, built up over 35 years of 60-hour work weeks, living below my means, driving the same truck for 18 years, but rent in the Bay Area was insane. A 1-bedroom apartment would run me $2,400 to $3,200 a month. That's $28,800 to $38,400 a year, more than my entire income. I ran the numbers over and over. If I left, I'd burn through my savings in 10 years, maybe less. I was 62. What happened when I hit 72 and the money ran out? That's what I told myself anyway. Later, I'd realize I was thinking like a victim, not like a man who owned a $3.2 million asset. The third fear was the worst, becoming the bad guy. Amanda's family already looked at me like I was a burden Derek had been saddled with. At family dinners, her father would talk about self-made success and shoot looks my way. Her mother once asked me, in front of everyone, So, Frank, when are you planning to get your own place? Derek had shaped the narrative. We took Dad in after Mom died. It was supposed to be temporary, but you know how it is. If I fought back, if I caused trouble, I'd be the ungrateful old man attacking his own son. The community would side with Derek Young, successful, generous enough to house his aging father. I'd be isolated, alone. I remembered Sarah's last words to me in the hospital, morphine soft but fierce. Don't let pride separate you from the boys. She meant Derek and the grandkids, so I swallowed it. The eye rolls, the rent, the Facebook posts, the feeling of being invisible in walls I'd built with my own hands. I kept every receipt, though, every permit, every piece of paper. I'm not sure why. Habit, maybe. 35 years in construction teaches you to document everything. You never know when you'll need proof. I just didn't know yet what I'd need proof of. Then Memorial Day arrived, and everything changed. Memorial Day, May 27th, 2023. One of those perfect Bay Area days, 72 degrees, not a cloud. The kind of weather that makes you forget you're paying $7,000 a month to live here. Derek and Amanda invited 15 neighbors over for a barbecue. I was manning the grill, like I did every year. I'd gone to Whole Foods that morning and bought $127 worth of premium grass-fed beef. Derek didn't notice, or maybe he did, and assumed it was his money somehow. The backyard looked good. The redwood deck I'd built in 2004 had aged into this beautiful silver gray. 800 square feet of hand-selected lumber. Cost me $8,900 back then. I'd done all the work myself. Joist hangers, deck screws, 3 coats of sealant. People were scattered around. Jack Donovan from next door, the Harrisons from across the street, a few others I recognized from the neighborhood. Derek was on his 3rd beer, standing by Amanda's new patio furniture, $4,800 worth of teak and cushions, sitting on my deck. He was talking loud. Investment portfolios, stock options, the startup he worked for, making $145,000 a year feel like $1 million. I flipped burgers and stayed quiet. Then Jack Donovan walked over to me. Good guy, Jack. Retired fire captain. He'd watched me build this place 20 years ago. Frank, Jack said, loud enough for others to hear, that deck is still beautiful. You built that, 20 years ago? 2004, I said. 19 years. Derek's head turned. Dad helped. We've done a lot since then. Amanda chimed in. We basically rebuilt everything. I didn't respond, just focused on the grill. That's when Derek decided to push it. Honestly, Dad, he said, walking closer, when are you going to actually contribute around here? The conversations around us stopped. I could feel 15 pairs of eyes turning. I mow the lawn every week, I said, keeping my voice level. That's not a contribution. That's basic. Derek, come on, Jack started. No, Jack, Derek cut him off. It needs to be said. He acts like a guest. Amanda joined him. We never asked him to stay this long. I set down my spatula. You asked me to move in after your mother died. As a temporary thing, Dad, it's been 4 years. Where should I go? Derek's face hardened. That's not my problem to solve for you. The silence was complete. Emma started crying. She was 6 years old, and she didn't understand why Daddy was yelling at Grandpa. Jake clung to his mother's leg. Derek wasn't done. You eat our food. You live in our house, but you don't help. 15 neighbors, watching. I took off my apron, folded it carefully, handed it to Derek. Finish the burgers yourself, I said. I walked inside, through the kitchen I'd remodeled, past the cabinets I'd built by hand, up the stairs I'd framed, into the guest room that used to be Derek's childhood bedroom when this was just a foundation and a dream. I closed the door. My hands were shaking so badly I couldn't turn the knob on the first try. I sat on the bed, heard the murmur of voices outside resume, heard Amanda's laugh, forced and bright, heard Derek saying something about drama and sensitivity. I looked around that room. Blue walls I'd painted when Derek was 12, ceiling fan I'd installed, closet door I'd hung when the original one warped. I'd built this house as a gift for my son, a foundation for his life. So he'd never struggled the way I had, but somewhere along the way, the gift became a prison. and the son I'd raised became a warden. I sat there for 3 hours, heard the party wind down, heard cars leave, heard Derek and Amanda putting the kids to bed, heard them go to their room, the master bedroom, with the tile work I'd done, with the walk-in closet I'd framed. Sarah's face floated up in my mind. Don't let pride separate you from the boys. But this wasn't pride anymore. This was survival. That night, I made a decision. A quiet one. I didn't sleep. I sat in that guest room until 2 a.m. staring at the ceiling. The same ceiling I'd drywalled myself, sanded smooth, painted twice. Around midnight, I opened the closet and pulled out a cardboard box from the back. Old photo albums Sarah had kept. I flipped through slowly. There we were. Me and Sarah at the groundbreaking August 2002. Both of us holding shovels. Derek between us. He was 12, grinning at the camera. I remembered that day. 103 degrees. I'd worked a double shift at a commercial site downtown, then driven straight here to break ground. Sarah brought lemonade in a cooler. Derek helped me measure out the foundation lines with string and stakes. "This is going to be our house, Dad," he'd asked. "Yours someday," I'd told him, "so you never have to struggle like I did." I closed the album. At 3 a.m., I got in my truck and drove to my storage unit. Public storage, unit number 114. I'd been renting it since 2003, $120 a month for 20 years. That's $28,800 spent on storage. Derek didn't even know it existed. I unlocked the unit and pulled out the boxes I needed, the important ones. Inside, original building permits from the city of Fremont, dated 2003. My contractor's license, number 863521. Receipts for lumber, concrete, fixtures, and the big one, the property deed. Filed with Santa Clara County, March 14th, 2003. Frank Mitchell, sole owner. I held that deed under the fluorescent light and read it 3 times. I'd never transferred ownership. I'd said Derek could live there forever. I'd never said I was giving it away. Legally, Derek was a tenant at will, living in my house, charging me rent in my own house. I found another box. Inside, receipts from the last 4 years. The granite countertops Derek bragged about on Instagram. The new HVAC system. The bathroom tile. All on my credit card. Total, $31,450. All credited to Derek's vision, his taste, his investment in the property. I sat on the concrete floor of that storage unit and did something I hadn't done since Sarah's funeral. I laughed. Not a happy laugh, a broken one. Then I pulled out my phone and called Tom Sullivan. Tom was a realtor. We'd worked together back in the day, both of us in the union, both building our way up from nothing. He'd specialized in residential sales, and I'd stayed in construction, but we'd stayed friends. I'd helped his daughter with a down payment in 2015 when she was buying her first place. The phone rang 4 times before he picked up, voice thick with sleep. "Frank?" "It's 3 a.m. "Tom," I said, "I need to know something. If I wanted to sell a house, how fast could it happen?" Silence. Then, "Your house? Why?" "Hypothetically. Frank, what's going on?" "Just answer the question," he sighed. "Bay Area market, this price range. If you found a cash buyer, no loan contingencies, no inspection drama, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, and the owner doesn't need permission from tenants." Long pause. "Frank, what the hell happened?" "I'll call you back," I said, and hung up. I sat there until dawn. When the sun came up and filtered through the storage unit door, I made another call. This one to a number I'd gotten from my old union buddy. "Margaret Brennan Law Office," a voice answered. "I need an estate attorney," I said. "Someone who knows property law." "May I ask what this is regarding?" I looked down at the deed in my hand, at the permits, at the receipts. "I need to take my house back," I said. The woman on the other end paused. "I can schedule you for tomorrow, 10 a.m. "I'll be there," I said. I drove home as the neighborhood woke up. Derek's car was already gone. He left at 7 a.m. every morning. Amanda's car left at 7:30. I walked through my empty house, touched the door frames I'd hung, ran my hand along the kitchen counter I'd installed. I'd built this as an act of love. Now I'd take it back as an act of survival. 2 weeks after the Memorial Day disaster, Father's Day rolled around. June 18th, 2023. I woke up that morning and checked my phone. No texts. No calls. I walked downstairs. No card on the kitchen table. No note. Around 9 a.m., I heard Derek and Amanda getting the kids ready. Suitcases, snacks packed. Emma's voice. Are we really going to see Grandpa Jim? That's Amanda's father, the vineyard owner in Napa. Derek walked past me in the hallway like I was furniture. We'll be back tomorrow night, he said without looking. It's Father's Day, I said. Yeah, we're going to celebrate with a real father figure. Amanda didn't even try to soften it. She just herded the kids out the door. I stood in the hallway and listened to the garage door close, listened to the car pull away. I spent that day alone in a house I'd built with my own hands. Made myself a sandwich. Watched a baseball game on TV Giants versus Dodgers. Sat in the living room I'd framed out. On the floor I'd installed. Under the ceiling I'd textured. Around 4 p.m. there was a knock at the door. Jack Donovan, the neighbor, standing there with a card. Saw Derek's car gone, Jack said. This is from me. The card said, to the best builder I know. Happy Father's Day. He doesn't know how lucky he is, Frank, Jack added quietly. I nodded. Couldn't speak. Jack left and I sat back down. Opened my phone. That's when I saw it. Amanda had posted an Instagram story. Her account had 3,200 followers. She was one of those lifestyle influencer types. The story showed Amanda's father's vineyard. Rolling hills. Sunset. Wine glasses. The caption, celebrating the real patriarch of our family, # Father's Day, # blessed. Location tagged, Napa Valley. I didn't have Instagram, but Emma showed it to me the next night when they got back, scrolling through her mother's photos on Amanda's phone. Why aren't you in the picture, Grandpa? Emma asked. Derek overheard from the next room. Because Grandpa didn't come with us, sweetie. Why not? Because we didn't invite him. Emma looked confused. Jake started crying. He was tired from the drive. Amanda swooped in and took them upstairs for bath time. I sat there on the couch. Derek sat across from me, scrolling through his own phone. You didn't have to do that, I said quietly. Do what? Exclude me. On Father's Day, Derek didn't look up. You're not her father, Dad. You're my father. And honestly, you haven't been acting like one lately. What does that mean? He finally looked at me. It means fathers provide. They lead. They don't sit around eating someone else's food and contributing nothing. I stood up, walked to my room, closed the door. That's when I knew this wasn't going to get better. This was going to get worse. 2 weeks later, late June, Derek sat me down again. Same kitchen table, same serious face. Amanda's parents want to visit for a week in September. The whole week. They're staying in the guest room. That's my room, I said. It's our house, Dad. And their family. So am I. You'll need to stay elsewhere. Just for the week. Get a hotel or something. I stared at him. You want me to leave for a week so your in-laws can visit? It's not personal. We just don't have space. This is a 4-bedroom house. The other rooms are the kids' rooms and our office. Be reasonable. Amanda walked by, heard the conversation. Actually, Derek, we can't really afford to chip in for a hotel. Frank, you'll just have to figure it out. Derek slid a piece of paper across the table. Printed Airbnb listings. I found some options. Average is like $189 a night. 7 nights, call it $1,400. You've got savings, right? I looked at those listings, then at Derek, then at Amanda, leaning against the doorframe with her arms crossed. I'll figure it out, I said. I went upstairs, sat on the bed in the guest room, the room that used to be Derek's, the room in the house I'd built. And I made 3 phone calls. The first, to Margaret Brennan, the estate attorney I'd met with back in January. The second, to Tom Sullivan, the realtor. The third, to my bank, to move money into a checking account for legal fees. When I was done, I lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. I'd been quiet long enough. Let me walk you through what happened between January 2024 and June 2024. 5 months where I moved in absolute silence. January 2024. The attorney. Margaret Brennan's office was downtown San Jose, 17th floor. Glass walls overlooking the city. I'd gotten her name from my union buddy. She's tough, Frank. She'll tell you the truth. I brought everything. The deed, the permits, the receipts. I laid them out on her mahogany desk like evidence at a trial. Margaret was 58, gray hair pulled back, reading glasses on a chain. She picked up the deed first, studied it. "You built this house yourself?" she asked. "Every wall." "And the deed?" I pointed. "Filed March 2003, never transferred." She examined the county records I'd printed, ran her finger down the ownership line, looked up at me over her glasses. "Mr. Mitchell," she said slowly, "you own this property outright." 100%. They don't know that? Your son thinks he owns it? I told him he could live there. Forever. I never said I was giving it to him. Margaret sat back. "Do you want to sell?" "Can I do that?" "Legally? It's your house. You can sell it tomorrow if you want." She ran a title search right there. Pulled up the county database. 0 liens. Frank Mitchell, sole owner. Current estimated value, $3.1 to $3.4 million. I felt something unlock in my chest. "I want to do it quietly," I said. "I don't want them stopping me before it's done." Margaret nodded. "They'll have to be notified eventually. California law requires 30 days' notice for eviction." "I know, but I don't want them knowing until the sale closes." She drew up a strategy. List it as an estate sale. Target cash buyers only. Fast close. Once the sale was done, serve the 30-day notice. "You understand," Margaret said. "This will destroy your relationship with your son." "That's already destroyed," I said. Her retainer was $4,500. I paid it from my savings that day. I almost called it off. One night I was reading to Jake. "Good night, Moon," like always. He fell asleep on my chest, and I just sat there, feeling his little heartbeat, his breath warm against my neck. Emma knocked on the door. "Grandpa, can you check my math homework?" I tucked Jake in and helped Emma with fractions. She got every problem right. She just wanted me there. "Grandpa," she whispered, "are you sad?" "Why would I be sad, sweetheart?" "You seem sad lately." I kissed her forehead. "I'm okay." That night I almost called Margaret and told her to stop. Then I overheard Amanda on the phone in the kitchen. I wasn't eavesdropping. I was coming downstairs for water, but her voice carried. "Honestly, Jen, I can't wait until Frank finally gets his own place. He's killing our vibe. Derek won't say it, but I will. It's like having a roommate who never leaves." I stood on the stairs in the dark, listened. I know, family obligation, but it's been 4 years. How long are we supposed to carry him?" I went back upstairs without the water. The next morning I called Margaret. "Let's do it." Tom Sullivan met me at the storage unit. I showed him everything, the permits, the deed, the receipts. "Frank," he said, "this is a $3.2 million house." "You're sure about this?" "I built it for my son. He doesn't want me in it, so neither of us gets it." Tom's face hardened. He'd known me 35 years, knew I didn't make decisions like this lightly. "All right," he said, "let's burn it down." He listed the property March 18th, 2024. Exclusive estate sale. Cash offers only. Fast close preferred. The strategy, schedule all showings weekdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Derek was at work until 6. Amanda was at work until 5. Kids were at school. The house was empty. Tom coordinated with Jack Donovan next door. If Derek asks why people are coming by, say you don't know. Say maybe it's assessors or inspectors. First showing, 6 parties walked through, a Tesla executive, a couple from Seattle relocating for Google, an investor from San Francisco. They walked through my kitchen, my deck, my tile work. Second showing 4 days later, 4 more parties. The offers started coming in. March 29th, 2024. Tom called me. "Frank, we've got one. $3.2 million, all cash. They want to close in 60 days, June 15th. "Take it," I said. "Frank, take it." Escrow proceeded like clockwork. Inspections scheduled during work hours. Appraisals when the house was empty. Tom handled everything. There was one close call. Amanda came home sick one afternoon. She saw the appraiser's car in the driveway. "Who's that?" she asked him. The appraiser, coached by Tom, didn't blink. "City assessment, ma'am." "Routine property value update." She went inside without following up. I lived in that house for 2 more months, saying nothing. I watched Derek and Amanda go about their lives. Watch them complain about traffic, about work, about their friends. Watched Amanda post Instagram stories about grateful for this beautiful home. I kept my face neutral. Kept my routine. Mowed the lawn. Watched the kids. Paid the rent, Derek demanded. At night, I walked through the house alone. I'd touch the door frames I'd hung, run my hand along the kitchen counter I'd installed, stand on the deck I'd built, and look at the yard I'd landscaped. This was my life's work. 20 years of it, contained in 2,400 square feet of walls and floors and roof. I wasn't just selling a house. I was selling a piece of my soul. But I couldn't live as a ghost in my own foundation anymore. June 14th, 2024. Friday. The sale closed. The wire transfer hit my account at 2:47 p.m. $3.2 million minus $180,000 in fees, commissions, and taxes. Net, $3.02 million. I sat in my truck in a grocery store parking lot and stared at the bank app on my phone. At that number, I'd spent $127,000 in property taxes over 21 years. I'd given Derek $120,000 for his wedding. I'd spent $31,450 on renovations he took credit for. I'd provided $57,600 worth of childcare and repairs over 4 years. Total, $336,050. And in one transaction, I'd taken back my dignity. I drove home, made dinner, acted normal. Derek came home, complained about his boss, ate the food I'd cooked. He had no idea that tomorrow morning everything would change. Saturday, June 15th, 2024. 9:47 a.m. I woke up at 5:30. Couldn't sleep anyway. I'd packed 2 suitcases the night before. Everything I owned fit into 2 suitcases and hidden them in Jack Donovan's garage. Jack knew what was coming. He'd offered to be there. I made coffee, sat on the deck I'd built, watched the sun come up over the neighborhood. It was 68 degrees, sky clear, birds singing, a beautiful day for the world to end. At 9:30, I heard Derek and Amanda stirring upstairs. Saturday morning, they slept in on weekends. The kids would sleep until 10. I sat in the living room, waited. At 9:47 a.m., I heard it, the rumble of a diesel engine. I looked out the window. A 26-foot moving truck pulled up to the curb, white cab, Bay Area Moving and Storage printed on the side. Behind it, a silver SUV. The Harrison family stepped out. Tech executive from Seattle, his wife, 3 kids, the new owners. I heard footsteps upstairs. Derek appeared at the top of the stairs in pajama pants and a t-shirt, hair messy. What's that noise? He walked to the window, saw the truck. His face went confused, then annoyed. He opened the front door and stepped onto the porch. I stayed inside, watching. "Excuse me," Derek called out. "Can I help you?" The lead mover, a big guy with a clipboard, walked up. "We're here for the Harrison move-in. This is 2247 Redwood Lane, right?" "Yeah, but there's a mistake. This is my house." The mover checked his clipboard. "Sale closed yesterday, sir, June 14th. We're here to unload." Derek's face went white. "What sale?" Amanda appeared behind him. "Derek, what's going on?" "They're saying the house was sold." "That's impossible." Derek spun around, looked at me through the window. Our eyes met. He ran inside, went straight to the kitchen. I heard him yelling, "Dad! Dad! What the hell is happening?" I walked into the kitchen calmly. There was an envelope on the counter. Manila, legal size. I'd left it there an hour ago. Derek grabbed it, ripped it open. Inside, a 30-day eviction notice on legal letterhead, a copy of the property deed, a copy of the sale contract, and a letter from me. He read it out loud, voice shaking. "Derek, I built this house in 2003 with my own hands. I never transferred the deed. I let you live here because I loved you. You told me I eat but don't help. Here's what I helped with. Property taxes, $127,000, 2003 to 2024. Your wedding, $120,000 from your mother's life insurance. Renovations you took credit for, $31,450. Yard work, repairs, babysitting, $57,600, estimated value over 4 years. Total, $336,050. The house sold for $3.2 million. You have 30 days. Dad. The silence lasted about 5 seconds. Then Derek exploded. You can't do this. I already did. This is illegal. It's entirely legal. Amanda grabbed the papers from Derek's hands. Read them. Her face went from pale to red. You're evicting us? Your own son? I'm evicting tenants from my property. There was a knock at the door. I opened it. Margaret Brennan stood there in a business suit, briefcase in hand. Mr. Mitchell, she said professionally, then turned to Derek. You must be Derek. I'm Margaret Brennan, your father's attorney. She handed him a business card. This is your formal 30-day notice to vacate. Everything is in the envelope. If you have questions, call my office. Derek looked at her, at me, at the card. We'll sue you. Margaret didn't blink. On what grounds? Your father owns the property. Your tenants at will. California law is very clear. You have no legal claim to this house. We've lived here for years. In a property you never owned. I'm sorry, but the law is on Mr. Mitchell's side. By now, neighbors were coming out. Jack Donovan from next door. The Harrisons across the street. The old Harrisons, not the new ones moving in. 2 other families from down the block. 12 people watching. Amanda started crying. Where will we go? We have children. I looked at her. That's not my problem to solve for you. Her face twisted. You're using my words against me? I'm using your logic. Derek stepped toward me. Dad, please, think about Emma and Jake. I have been thinking about them. Every day for 4 years. They need stability. They need parents who model respect. I can't teach them that if you don't show it. We'll lose everything. You never had anything to lose. You never owned this house. Margaret put a hand on my arm. Mr. Mitchell, shall we let the movers proceed? I nodded. Derek blocked the door. You're not coming in this house. Margaret's voice turned sharp. Mr. Mitchell, step aside or I'll call the police. Your father owns this property. The sale is closed. You're interfering with a legal transaction. Jack Donovan stepped forward. Derek, move. You're making this worse. Derek spun on him. Stay out of this, Jack. I won't. Your dad built this house. We all knew it. You should have known it. He gave it to me, you owe it to me. He let you live in it, Jack said. There's a difference. Emma appeared at the top of the stairs, rubbing her eyes. She was 6 years old, wearing her princess pajamas. Grandpa? Why is everyone yelling? The entire scene froze. Emma walked down the stairs, looked at the moving truck through the window, looked at the boxes, looked at me. Grandpa, are you leaving us? I knelt down, hugged her. No, sweetheart, I'm not leaving you. You can visit me anytime you want. Where are you going? I'm getting my own place. A place where you and Jake can come visit. But I like this house. I know, baby. But sometimes things change. Derek pulled Emma away from me. Don't talk to her. Derek, Amanda started. No, he doesn't get to do this and then act like the good guy. I stood up, looked at my son, really looked at him. I built you a house, I said quietly. I gave you a foundation. I thought that would be enough. But you needed to learn something else. Something I should have taught you earlier. What's that? That generosity isn't weakness. That silence isn't permission. And that every foundation has a deed. Margaret touched my elbow. The movers need to start unloading. I turned to Derek one last time. You have 30 days. I've opened a storage unit for you, unit number 216, same facility as mine. First month's paid. After that, it's on you. Derek's voice cracked. Dad, please. I love you, I said. But I can't live as a ghost in the house I built. I walked out the door, got in my truck, drove away. In the rearview mirror, I saw the movers start unloading furniture, saw Derek standing on the porch, Amanda beside him, both of them frozen. Saw the house I'd built becoming someone else's home. The first week was chaos. Jack Donovan told me later what happened. Derek and Amanda tried to rally the neighborhood against me, went door to door, told their version. His dad stole our house. But people had been at that Memorial Day barbecue. They'd heard what Derek said. They'd seen the Facebook posts, and Jack, bless him, had the receipts. He'd watched me maintain that property for 20 years. Derek, Jack told him, your dad paid the property taxes. Your dad did the repairs. Your dad built the damn thing. We all knew. You should have known. Then Amanda made her big mistake. She posted a crying video on Facebook. 3 minutes of tears, filmed in their temporary Airbnb. We're being evicted by his dad, After we took him in. After we gave him a home. It went semi-viral. 8,200 shares in 48 hours. But the comments weren't what she expected. Wait, he owned the house the whole time? You charged him rent in his own house? Maybe he did contribute and you just didn't see it. This is what happens when you disrespect people who built your life. Someone found the title records online, posted screenshots. Frank Mitchell, owner since 2003. The evidence was public. Amanda deleted the video, made her Facebook private, but screenshots lived forever. Derek's coworkers found out. Someone from his office followed Amanda on Instagram, saw the drama unfold in her stories before she locked her account. By Monday morning, the whole startup knew. His boss called him in. Derek, I don't involve myself in personal matters, but this is affecting team morale. People are talking. Take the week. Get your situation handled. It wasn't a firing, but it was close. Derek and Amanda had $23,000 in savings. In the Bay Area, that's nothing. First month, last month, security deposit on a rental for a family of 4 ran $15,000 to $18,000. For a house comparable to the one they'd lost, rent was $4,500 to $6,000 a month. Amanda's parents stepped in, offered a $50,000 loan, but it came with strings. You two need to reassess your priorities, Amanda's father told them. I heard this secondhand from Margaret, who heard it from Amanda's mother's attorney. You humiliated a man who gave you everything. Figure out what kind of people you want to be. Derek applied for a mortgage. Got denied. Debt-to-income ratio too high once you added rent and expenses. They ended up in a rental in Tracy, 90 minutes east. Commute traffic. 3 bedrooms, not 4. $3,200 a month. Derek left the house at 5:45 a.m. to beat traffic. Got home at 7:30 p.m. Saw his kids for 90 minutes before bedtime. Amanda had to switch territories. Her pharmaceutical sales route was based in the South Bay. From Tracy, she was driving 3 hours a day. Their life got smaller, and they knew whose fault it was. Emma asked Derek every single day, "When can we see Grandpa?" "He hurt our family," Derek would say, "but I miss him." "I know, honey." Jake regressed, stopped sleeping through the night, cried for me at bedtime. Amanda, exhausted from commuting and stress, tried everything. New nightlight, new bedtime routine. Nothing worked. One night, 2 weeks after the eviction, Emma drew a picture at school. The teacher called Derek in to show him. It was a crayon drawing of a man with gray hair and a tool belt. Text at the top in a 6-year-old's handwriting, "My grandpa is the strongest man." Derek sat in his car in the school parking lot and cried. That night, Amanda said something that shocked me when I heard it later. "Derek," she said, "they miss him. And honestly, this is hurting them more than it's hurting him. He deserves to be cut off." Maybe. But do they? Derek didn't answer. A week later, I got a text from Amanda. "Frank, the kids miss you. Can we arrange supervised visits?" I called Margaret first. She said it was my call. I texted back, "I'd like that. Let me know when." I bought a condo in Fremont. $580,000 paid cash. 1,100 square feet. 2 bedrooms. Ground floor with a small patio. Not fancy, but mine. I invested the remaining $2.44 million conservatively. Index funds, bonds, dividend stocks. It generated about $97,000 a year in passive income. Combined with Social Security and pension, I was pulling in $127,000 annually, more than I'd ever made working. I set up 2 529 college funds, $50,000 for Emma, $50,000 for Jake, irrevocable. Their mother and father couldn't touch it. I converted the garage in my new place into a workshop, bought new tools, table saw, router, belt sander, started building furniture, small stuff at first, side tables, cutting boards, then bigger projects, bookshelves, dining tables. I opened an Etsy shop, Mitchell Woodworks, sold my first piece in 3 days, a walnut coffee table, $800. The buyer left a 5-star review. You can tell this was made by someone who loves the craft. I worked when I wanted, slept when I was tired, ate when I was hungry. No one called me a freeloader. No one charged me rent. I had a workshop that smelled like sawdust and wood stain. I had a patio where I drank morning coffee and watched birds. I had peace. Margaret helped me draft a new will. Everything to Emma and Jake in trust. Accessible at 25. Derek got nothing. Not out of spite, I told Margaret, but because he needs to learn what I should have taught him. You build your own foundation. One afternoon, 3 months after the sale, I was sanding a rocking chair in my garage when my phone buzzed. Text from Amanda. Saturday, 2 p.m., Central Park in Fremont? The kids would like to see you. I texted back. I'll be there. Saturday, September 14th, 2024. Central Park in Fremont. 72 degrees, partly cloudy. I got there at 1:45. Sat on a bench near the playground. Watched kids on the swings, the slides, parents pushing strollers. At 2:03, I saw them. Amanda's car pulling into the parking lot. Emma burst out before the car fully stopped. She ran across the grass, arms wide. "Grandpa!" I caught her. Lifted her up. She wrapped her arms around my neck and squeezed. "I missed you so much," she said into my shoulder. Jake was slower, shy. He was 4, and 3 months felt like forever at that age. But when I knelt down, he walked into my arms. "Grandpa," he whispered, "are you still mad?" "I was never mad at you, buddy." Amanda stood back, arms folded. Derek stayed in the car. I could see him through the windshield, watching. Emma pulled me toward the playground. "Push me on the swings." For an hour, I was just Grandpa again. I pushed Emma on the swings. I helped Jake across the monkey bars. We played hide and seek around the trees. We were just us. At one point, Emma stopped running and looked up at me. "Grandpa, do you hate Daddy?" I knelt down, eye level. "No, sweetheart. I love him. But love doesn't mean letting people treat you badly." "What does that mean?" "It means sometimes people make mistakes, and when they do, you can still love them. But you don't have to let them hurt you." She thought about this. "Did Daddy hurt you?" "Yeah, he did." "Did you hurt him back?" Smart kid. "I protected myself. That's different." Jake tugged on my shirt. "Grandpa, will you build me a treehouse?" I smiled. "Not in their yard, buddy, but maybe someday in mine." Amanda walked over. We stood there awkwardly. The kids ran off to the slide. "Frank," she said quietly, "I owe you an apology." I didn't understand. I didn't see what you'd done for us. I'm sorry. I nodded. "I appreciate that. Derek's struggling with this. I know. He wants to apologize, but his pride—" "I'm not ready yet," I said. "Maybe someday, but not yet." She nodded. "The kids can visit you, if you want." "I'd like that." We stood there in silence. Then she called the kids, and they ran over. Emma hugged me goodbye. Jake clung to my leg. 2 weeks? Amanda asked. "Same time, same place?" "I'll be here," I said. I watched them walk back to the car. Watched Derek get out and buckle the kids into their car seats. He looked at me across the parking lot. We made eye contact. He raised one hand, not quite a wave, not quite an acknowledgement, just something. I nodded back. They drove away. I sat back down on the bench, pulled out my phone, opened the voice memo app. "If you've made it this far," I said into the phone, "thank you for listening." This wasn't easy to tell. People think providing means never saying no, that being a good father means giving until there's nothing left. But here's what I learned. I gave my son a house. I gave him money. I gave him time. But I didn't give him the lesson he needed most. Respect isn't something you're owed. It's something you earn by seeing the value in people. I built that house with my hands. Every beam, every nail, every door frame. But a house isn't a home if the people inside don't see your worth. I don't regret selling it. I regret that it took public humiliation to teach me I deserved better. If you're watching this and you've been giving everything to people who give nothing back, this is your permission to stop. You're not selfish for having boundaries. You're not cruel for expecting respect. Build your life, but don't let anyone convince you that staying small keeps the peace. I paused the recording, looked around the park, at the families, the kids playing, the world moving forward. If this story meant something to you, I continued, leave a comment. Tell me, have you ever had to set a hard boundary with family? I'd like to hear your story. And if you're watching from the Bay Area, or anywhere really, let me know where you're from. I'm curious who's out there listening. I stopped the recording, put my phone away, drove back to my condo, to my workshop, to my new life. That night, I built a small wooden truck for Jake. Used maple, sanded it smooth, rounded all the edges, safe for a 4-year-old. As I worked, I thought about foundations. How you lay them strong so they last. How you build on them carefully. How sometimes you have to tear them down and start over. I was 62 years old, and for the first time in 4 years, I was building something just for me. Not for approval, not for gratitude, not for family obligation, just because I wanted to, and that felt like freedom.